spicy night in the U.S. soccer landscape. While we were preparing for the next FC Cincinnati season and Concacaf Championships games, the American soccer landscape decided to try to split in two over the future of the U.S. Open Cup. To be honest, it's going to shift the way this show is headed a little bit. We, of course, want to give our club, your club, its due as we are headed into a pretty big first weekend. But FC Cincinnati also is linked with the U.S. Open Cup. Historically, a lot of people feel like we came from that competition, and it means a lot of things to different people in our community. I'm sure we have listeners that feel quite strongly that MLS is ruining the sport, while others see value in dumping this competition and moving on to things like Leagues Cup. Then there's a handful of you that are right now thinking, what are you talking about, Boston? I have no idea what's going on. And we'll make sure to get you caught up as well. Thanks and welcome into Cincinnati Soccer Talk Podcast. We are entering our 9th season, and we are happy to have you along. If you're just coming back, we are a website, 3 podcasts, photography team, writing team, a great group of volunteers and helpers that try to keep our community informed. 2024 is going to be an awesome year, and we have an awesome team tonight. Let's get things started. First up, we'll bring him back in, Bryan Weigel, the man of the hour. How you doing?
Man, just just like Jason, just dealing with a bunch of dingleberries on Twitter today. So it's been a busy day. I'd rather talk about our upcoming 2 matches this week than all the ref and U.S. Open Cup controversies. But I'm excited. Nothing will get me down. I'm going to see Lucho Costa and Aaron Bepensa score some bangers this weekend. And pretty jacked up, pal.
As you've learned over the years, we don't get a say in what we get to talk about. We think we do, and then everybody changes the story for us. So, really, whatever's important to, I think, FC Cincinnati fans is important to us at the end of the day. So, with that, we'll bring in Jason. By the way, I look forward to fighting with both of you tonight because I think we're on opposite ends of this thing.
I don't know how much fighting. I'm tired, man. I'm a 40-something-year-old man who decided to get back into the world of academics, and I'm working on my master's in business administration, and that has just sucked all the energy out of me. So we might fight. I'm kind of grumpy and tired, but
hey,
I'm
pal,
excited. Go ahead.
You got a good head of lettuce there for being in the 40-something. I'm kind of jealous.
I can hardly get a comb through this. I mean, but guys, we got two FCC matches coming up in the next 6 days. I am stoked, ready for some soccer, man.
I'm over here trying to jump into the controversy, and both of you are like, "Hey, FCC plays this weekend." Justin, you're wearing a Lexington SC shirt. Is that in support of lower division soccer? Just drag you right into this mess.
It absolutely is. No, that's my hometown club, so I gotta support the boys on their second season. So
are they League 1 or League 2?
They're League 1.
So they're professional.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Loading me with some ammunition for later. I can't wait.
League 2, I can't betray our boys up in Dayton Dutch Lion. So
hey, I got a Carolina Dynamo or North Carolina Fusion scarf back here, bud.
Nice.
I know all about. I know all about people. People forget. I know what USL PDL was, baby. Let's go back in the day.
Yeah. If you're following us on YouTube and you're used to following us on Facebook, we will be back next week. For some reason, the new kit picture got us temporarily suspended over there on the Facebooks. We have media rights to use it, so it's kind of confusing as to Adidas or somebody whacked us with that one. But we'll be back. We just got to go through the appeals process and whatnot. So
Zuckerberg's mad that he wasn't able to hold anybody's pads during the UFC fight this weekend, so he's just taking it out on everybody.
Feel free to use the comments on YouTube instead of Facebook. And hopefully you found us if you're normally used to watching. It looks like attendance is pretty similar to what it is on a normal night. So we hope you got over here just fine. All right. I am glad to have these guys on because I wouldn't imagine a more sensitive topic. We got just lockouts, union fights, U.S. Open Cup. I mean, you got to bring this cast of crew if you're going to dive all into that. And then probably the most controversial thing of the week, FC Cincinnati's kits. white kits, canvas, paint it, make it your own? Is it a cop-out? Is it not a cop-out? I don't know. We're going to dive into that. I'll give you 2 seconds, guys, to kind of come up with your opinions. Before that, we're going to introduce our awesome sponsor, Apollo Home. Heading into a new season with us, new deals from Apollo to kick off the 2024 season. They are offering a $24 heating tune-up of your HVAC system, $24 for a whole home plumbing evaluation, or $24 for electrical safety evaluation. Please give them a call or book online at apollohome.com. By the way, these are CST specials only. So, you know, you can go look on the billboards. You can go figure out what you want. But no, 2024 season, 2024 special. Mention us when you call, please. All right, canvas kits. I want your early thoughts. Like when you see that thing, you stay up. The last kit announced in Major League Soccer. Jason, we'll start with you, buddy. Does it like wow you? Are you blown away?
I think my reaction was meh. Like, you know, like with any great band, they can't all be bangers. And so occasionally you're going to have something that's kind of mediocre. I was thoroughly whelmed by the kit. It was nothing terrible. It wasn't the worst kit, but it certainly was not the best.
What's the worst kit?
Oh, geez. I think probably Toronto. It's just that one's really, really bland. And they have good colors, and they could really do something a lot better.
Yeah, let's be honest. At the end of the day, I think if you put us below a C to F, a white kit can always be in a C range, right? Because if you're just like you didn't try, you played it safe, C out of F. I'm okay with that. If you put us as a C, I'm okay with that. If you put us as an F, then you just hate the color white. Justin, what do you think?
No, I like it. I like the idea of the campaign. I'm not thrilled with the execution on the kit itself, but I do like incorporating the artistic expression that Cincinnati has around the city, and I even got a little taste of that with the tifo painting this week. So it's just cool to see that kind of concept come out. I just wish the kit would have reflected a little bit more of that.
Are you actually going to buy it and paint it?
I will definitely wait till it's like $30 to buy it, and I will not paint that kit.
Okay. So what you're telling me is you like it. You like the concept, but in no way are you going to participate. That's what you just said.
I like the concept, but if you want like stick figures on your jersey, like that's about all I got.
You know, you could let the kid on there and draw on there. It's allowed.
Yes.
It's allowed.
Perfect. Take a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old and just give them a box of paint and just have at it. I like that idea.
Brian Weigel.
I don't
know. It's not
know
orange. You can wear it this year.
I don't know what your guys' issues are because it's perfect, just like me, pasty white and orange in all the right places. So I dig it. You know, white's always a challenge. I like the 3 stripes on the top with a little orange rib around them. The customized whatever trim, which is just scientific for it's too difficult to make everyone look the exact same. So that's cool. There's one thing I really don't like about the kit, and that is that the piping, whatever the custom piping, doesn't go around the front. It kind of goes down the sides and to the back. So I kind of wish it would have gone around the front, but overall, it's about as good as I can expect for a white kit.
I think the real reason everybody that doesn't like it's upset is because you're replacing the iconic orange kit. You remember how many years we begged for that orange kit? We just I think three years we begged for an all orange. We finally got it. It's like, Justin, it's behind you right now. It's iconic enough to be in your screenshot. And then now it's going to the wayside and replacing it with a white kit. There's nothing wrong with them. I prefer my white kits to be away kits personally. Anybody else bummed they took away the little bridge logo?
Yes.
Yeah, that was kind of. I just wish teams, and this is my rant for every sport. I wish we have color TVs now, guys. We don't need a white and a dark. Like if you have a team that has, I don't know, orange and blue as its colors, then use those two colors all the time. You don't need a white alternate kit. But you see that in like all the sports. Soccer, at least, is better about, if a team wears dark blue, another team can wear green at the same time on the pitch. But it's just one of those things about sports that drives me nuts. You don't need a white kit. We have color TVs. Do something different.
I see in our chat our old friend Augustin Caceres bringing up the fact that it's expensive. Hey, I have a hot tip for you, but I don't know how long it's going to last. If you go to MLSsoccer.com and you enter the code RSoccer24, a big shout out to the FC Cincinnati Discord for sharing this, you get about $32 off the kit. Adidas has not figured out that code works.
So that drops it down to what, $150?
Can you is it OUR?
OURSOCCER 24. It will drop the kit to about $127. So
Messi's gonna be pissed when he hears about this.
I don't know whose kit it all works with, but it does work with FC Cincinnati. So
well, he's getting comps on every one of our kits, right? That was part of the deal with Adidas.
Yeah. Until that's plugged, I think it's like about 25% off. So it's well worth it.
I didn't know this, but all the kits that feature a name on the back are manufactured just like in Dayton, or like in the Dayton area. You know that? Pretty interesting.
No, I didn't. That's why I listen. That's why I let you talk, Bryan. You bring in the facts.
Useless facts for 1,000, Alex. I mean, I do think it is expensive, but so is everything. I mean, freaking Skyline chili cheese coney's like $3.95 now, so it is what it is. It stinks, but
at least have you priced hockey jerseys? I mean, we are getting away with highway, like we're getting away scot-free. Like a hockey jersey is like $250. So yeah, not a lot to complain about.
Well, in 2028, I'll check back with you when we get our new arena and NHL team from Phoenix.
No, they're going to Salt Lake, but
are they?
Most likely.
Yeah. All right. So I had it in here, Boston. My best and worst kits. I know this is going to be controversial. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I love the Red Bulls kit, like the red with like the black stripes throughout. So I dig it. I like loud stuff. That's
You've been looking for a reason
tastefully
to buy
done.
a kit for years.
Tastefully done, yeah. Conversely, the other loud kit I hate, Seattle Sounders.
Oh, boo.
The Seattle Sounders it reminds me of like the 2016 whatever Columbus Crew Force, the city kits with the stupid blue shorts, and it reminds me exactly like that. So I hate the Seattle kit. Yeah, definitely not in love. I think it could have been better if they, I think there's like white trim, maybe if they made that blue, whatever. But yeah, definitely the worst.
Hard disagree.
Yeah, I think.
Well,
do we trust Bryan now?
Seattle. The thing that I like that Seattle's doing it, Orlando's doing it, Vancouver's doing it, and the Earthquakes are doing it. They're all doing anniversary kits. So Seattle's is a throwback to their original colors back in the 70s because it's their 50th anniversary. Beautiful colors. Best logo in the league right now with their new rebrand. Plus the little orca with the soccer ball secondary. Wonderful. But if you look at like the Earthquakes and Vancouver's got a really nice one. And it's not very fancy, but they've all got their throwback logos to NASL, and Vancouver needs to just make that their permanent logo. It is beautiful. And shout out to Orlando City for having they redid that three-headed lion logo for theirs. It's a fairly plain shirt, but the fact that they were going to do that is pretty awesome. And, one of the things that people like to gripe about MLS is like, it's got no history and culture and all that other stuff. Dude, we've got like 3-4 different, anniversary kits out this year. So, and I know Justin's a big fan of the Minnesota kits too. Those are pretty sweet.
Oh, but no, here's the problem with Orlando has a similar problem to us in that we lost our orange kits for the white ones. I actually don't have a problem at all with the new white ones. It's just that replaced a pretty cool kit. Orlando lost that Sunshine one. I don't know. I just dug that.
That was a pretty neat one.
That Sunshine kit. So like their problem is they're going from a pretty cool one to a plain one as well. Ironically, their pretty cool one is white based. All right, Justin.
Yeah, as Jason precluded, that Minnesota kit is choice, man. It is
Star Trek kit.
Oh, it's amazing. I love the stars. I love the cosmic dust that is back there. But if we're going with like the two best combos, the home and an away kit, Minnesota's knocking it out of the park with their Northern Lights kit last year. If we're going with the worst kit, I think it's a tie between Toronto, obviously, that shield pattern that they have throughout their kit is just screams afterthought. Like, oh crap, we forgot about the kit. We got to throw something together. Like, let's throw something together in paint with shapes. And then the crew, and a lot of people hate on the crew because of the like Charlie Brown theme to it. I hate the texture that's in the pattern. It's an asphalt pattern. The texture on it is just atrocious. Like, who came up?
It looks
with that?
brown to me.
Yeah,
it doesn't look black.
It's like beveled. Like the whole thing is beveled all the way across, and it is just horrid. Like I have no idea who agreed with that. And just real quick in our chat, Stateside Soccer Show, absolutely, the league is not ready for that Skyline Chili kit. A couple more years, we'll throw it on them.
Do you think the rest of the league would make fun of us if we did a Skyline kit? Like, do you think other fans would accept it? I know I personally wouldn't care, but you think they'd have to dog on us for it?
Brown would be really going out on a ledge for us. So
I think the cheddar, just like get that like lighter shade.
When do you order Skyline and you actually see brown? I mean, you just see gold and yellow. It's all buried under there.
I'm not telling you my order. I'm losing weight, cutting. Got to get that. Just the loaded chili bowl, baby. That's good.
They won't have much to cheer about this year, but I think Charlotte had a good one too. They kind of got lost in shuffle with like the mount. They totally ripped off Knoxville's lower level team with the kind of the mountain, Blue Ridge Mountain kind of pattern, but it's still pretty sweet. I got like a Great Smoky Mountains poster somewhere that kind of reminds me of that.
Yep. If they weren't so expensive, I'd love to buy another teams, but like I'm gonna go second mortgage my house to afford our jersey, so I can't afford to like go diving into anybody else's. Let's move on to something that probably matters a little bit more than the color of a shirt that you wear, and that's going to be we are headed into a Major League Soccer season with replacement referees. This has happened once before, not too long ago, actually. And I think it was semi-controversial back then after a first couple weeks of bad calls. This isn't unique to sports. The NFL's done it. Plenty of other leagues around the United States have started with replacement referees. The Major League Soccer could not come to an agreement with Pro, the referee union, and so we will start with a lockout. And this is all about the good old dollars and cents. And I'm probably going to throw this to my man, Bryan Weigel, who follows these things a lot more. And, of course, the Post, an article from 2 years ago or a year ago, getting a lot of glory this week as it has detailed referee financial information. Bryan, can you fill us in?
Sure. I was trying to get some PSRA contacts to come on the show this week, but nobody wants to speak on the record. So I did get some good.
I wonder
deets.
why.
Yeah, I know. I got some good deets on what is going on, and there's a multitude of issues here with the collective bargaining agreement with the PSRA, which is a sham of a union and doesn't, necessarily act in good faith at all points, and I think has not necessarily been honest online with some of their social media posts about how much people make. But if you go down to the Post Cincy, great show, and they do some writing on their site, but they have a great detail on their former collective bargaining agreement where essentially, let's just focus on the ARs because that's really where a lot of the big changes is going to be along, travel for other people too. But right now, a AR, a guy who runs up and down the side of the field makes about 18,000 base per year, and then he or she makes, I apologize, about $1,350 per match. Okay. Roughly $50,000 a year if you do 25 games. Less, I think most people are in that like 22 to 25 game range, which I've lived on 40 grand. I've lived on 30 grand a year. It ain't fun. And so I think it's what I know we're all pissed off about Matt Miazga. We want these people to treat themselves like athletes. I mean, they're putting in time and effort to better themselves, do training. And I think it's in the best interest of the league to, get these people salary higher. Now, there's been talk about basically doubling their base figures and then, of course, increasing their game fees as well. I mean, you're still talking about somebody making 65K, 65, 70K a year, which I'm sure it could still be better. But if you really look at that, say we're taking 50 ARs, adding, double, let's say we're adding 20K each for their salary, adding, 20% more to their game figures. It's not an insignificant fee. It's about 1.2 to 1.5 million, depending on how many people there are for these people. I mean, this is just the ARs, not including travel and everything else that they want. The fourth officials, the VARs, the assistant VARs. So, I mean, there's some serious bucks being thrown around here to improve the officiating within the league. And I know I've always been kind of a hardliner where I want the clubs to make more. I don't know what you guys think, but I think having good officials, makes a better product on the field.
Well, your argument, though, precludes that they're actually trying to improve the officiating. Because the way it stands right now, it's the same officials. And I'm a union guy. Don't get it twisted. I normally would be solidarity, brother. But the thing is, it's the same bad officials that are in this union trying to get big raises, which I'm not saying they shouldn't. But at the same time, like, come on, if we're spend money on better officiating, that's one thing. But at the same time, you're getting referees who aren't the best. They're already among the highest paid in the world. And there's a lot of tax write-offs they can do too. So like travel and stuff, they can write all that stuff off.
They're essentially taking, well, I guess you could really go either way with this, but the way I look at it is you're taking somebody who's in a gig role. I look at it as a gig role where you're kind of based in your hub and you get the games in your little area. So there's not as much traveling. And so you're kind of limited. Okay. So if we want to get the best people and fly them all around this country, we need to make those people full-time employees, give them the benefits, the healthcare, everything they need. And again, it's not insignificant, but I think especially for the ARs who, I mean, that is a gig. I mean, at the best end, at the best end, it's a median wage. Again, I'm probably not the best to speak on this. Think about you're traveling 30 weeks, 20 weeks a year. So, I mean, I'm all for, increasing the quality of these people by making them full-time employees. And is there trade-offs? I think these people should be subjected to more scrutiny, or maybe not scrutiny, but maybe more open and honest with their interviews. Okay, we'll give you more, but you guys sit in front of a camera once a week or after every match. I don't know. I definitely think that there's positives in this scenario for both sides.
I will say that if you are improving the position, that's going to increase competition for ARs. I know that there's this whole training mechanics. I don't know the details of being a match official and what kind of training you need to go through, but at least it creates that as a feasible opportunity for somebody who might be interested in the game. So it creates more opportunity, competition where somebody says, "Hey, I'm not going to go be a match official and make, 40,000 a year." Whenever you start getting up to 80,000, then somebody might say, "Hey, that's a realistic career path. I think I'm going to pursue that." So there's more competition for those positions.
The one thing I find the most awkward about this, even when it's like the players union or the refs union or whatever, or MLS themselves, it's always like the random pleas of like why you're right on Twitter. Like both sides do this, right? They like try to like go get the fans on their side. It's like, hey everybody, the other side's lying about this, and it's really this and that. And like at the end of the day, the fans are like, can you guys just figure it out so we can all watch the sport?
In all honesty, I mean, in 2014, the world didn't catch on fire when we had replacement refs. Now, is it going to be a certain, different scenario? I'm sure there is. I mean, we had to bring in international refs. We had to bring in refs from D1 versus, lower tier professional leagues. So I am a little worried about player safety, about intimidation. I mean, when you have Bernadeschi and Insigne getting in a former D1 college soccer official's face, is he or she going to react differently than Ted Uncle? I mean, you can hate all the tactics of the PRSA and everything they did with Matt Miazga, which I think was absolutely classless. But at the end of the day, we do need, good refs.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but does PRSA pro referees, do they still do officiating for USL, or did USL go in a different direction last year?
No, they stuck with them, but I don't know how USL is impacted by this particular.
That would be my other question, because your negotiating tactic is, hey, our ARs need all this extra money, but at the same time, an AR is going to go get a head referee gig at Louisville City on Thursday night, and then referee as an AR at Cincinnati on Saturday night.
I do know that the Major League Soccer pays most of their salary, so the USL does not come close to help subsidize. So basically, Major League Soccer helps foot most of these people's bill. So,
I mean, if you really look at it, MLS foots the bill for their training. And this applies to NWSL, this applies to USL, NPSL. I mean, the people who fund, and this goes across the board for a variety of things, it all tracks back to MLS. So, I mean, I know they need to be a good partner here. Mm-hmm. And again, it's not my money I'm spending, but
maybe all soccer should just be underneath the MLS umbrella.
This is not a fully endorsed opinion of Cincinnati Soccer. Just a disclaimer. That's a Jason Ashcraft. Please tweet at him. No, I get what you guys are saying. I think there's things on both sides here. Ultimately, what you're going to see is a compromise somewhere on this issue and these referees returning. It's what happened last time. It's what's going to happen this time. And so the question is, how many weeks? Is there going to be some big blown call that forces everyone back to the table? I don't know. I mean, it happened in the NFL, right? Didn't you have that big play?
Green Bay. Yeah.
The big
Green Bay. It like 1 week, I think, for them to screw up really bad in the NFL.
So the question is, like, I think honestly, if the replacement refs go out there week 1 and nothing bad happens, like all the games are just normal plain Jane games, then that's a bad position for the referee union. They're probably going to be like, dang it. But if some big call gets blown and Messi's goal gets revoked, then that's really bad for MLS. And either way, they're going to have to go back to the table and solve this issue.
What changes in that scenario? I mean, it's what we've been dealing with pro anyway. I'm not trying to bash on pro, but it's been ridiculous across the league. Numerous coaches. I know Pat Noonan has gotten a lot of publicity for all of his post-game conversations about it.
Yeah, Pat Noonan's been so vocal, fans are worried about the rest punishing us in future.
No, they did punish us until he had to go and make a public apology. I mean,
but it wasn't just Pat Noonan. That's
right.
My point is that coaches all across the league, players all across the league know that there is a different expectation with these referees versus, when they go and play international games. So blown calls isn't going to upset the fan base enough to demand pro to come back.
And, we mentioned the postcast earlier, and they mentioned this on their podcast today. This isn't like I'm just gonna straight up steal their take. This isn't like when the NFL had replacement referees. There's only so many people who are capable of refereeing an NFL level football game, and college refs didn't want to do it because their solidarity, right? That's not the case in soccer. I mean, you could probably go and poach the Scottish Premier League's referees, and they would be just as good as anything pro can throw at it. So, I mean, I get your bag. I'm pro union, but at the same time, like, I don't envy the position they're in, because it's not like there's not just as good of officials out there in the world.
Hey, don't slight our officials here. The Saudi Pro League went over and hired a bunch of our guys on short-term loans to ref games for Ronaldo. So
we have 4 solid world class. I mean, we've had pro referees. I think it was in the World Cup final or semifinal that we had a pro referee. I forget his name right now, but I'm not saying the entirety of pro is bad. I'm just saying that, I mean, it's become expectation for MLS fans that they're going to goof.
Yeah. The average Cincinnati fan is still pretty sore, so I think there's a good chunk of our fan base that doesn't super feel too bad for the even people that are like pro union guys like Jason. They're just like, hey, you guys got us pretty bad last year. Wrong year to be coming to us asking us to feel bad for you. I saw some other MLS fans getting a little bit mad at Cincinnati fans, but they don't really understand. They didn't go through, I think, some of the stuff we went through, and it's a little bit different when you get burnt that bad. And it's like your ex asking for money. It's like, you're my ex for a reason there. Bryan Weigel's got his heart out. All right. Real quick, let's give a shout out to our second half of the show sponsor, Beyond Exercise. They're a local physical therapy and fitness business that helps anyone get active and stay active. In fact, a listener of Cincinnati Soccer Talk tweeted me a photo of themselves in Beyond Exercise this morning on Facebook. So apparently this ad and Brandon Vasquez and Nick Haglin's treatment at Beyond Exercise has really motivated them to get over there and get some therapy and training. They actually said the doctors there are awesome. So that's a firsthand account of somebody who listens to the show. Currently, they are offering a discount for their ACL injury prevention screens, which was piloted with Haglund and Brandon Vasquez. Learn more at gobeyondexercise.com. You can also get into touch with us on Twitter at Cincy Soccer Talk, or email us at feedback@cincinnati-soccertalk.com. We love hearing from you guys, and thanks for supporting our show, of course. We have a match pretty darn soon coming up. Cavalier F.C. Justin told us all last week he's an expert on Caribbean soccer, specifically Jamaican soccer. So we're going to throw this to Justin. He has no idea I'm doing this, but since he bragged, he gets the brunt of it. Please tell us all about Cavalier FC. Justin, this is your moment of glory.
So yeah, we're in the Concacaf Champions Cup, and on Thursday we take on Cavalier FC, Jamaican side that's been around for quite some time. Actually, they have a lot of history. Not so much of the winning pedigree. There's a pro rel system in Jamaica. I know those are taboo words up in the States, but Cavalier is a team that is kind of a fascinating watch. They're extremely young. I think their average
Yes,
age
they are.
is 21 and a half. That's incredible.
They're wildly young.
And for the Jamaican league, that's kind of crazy
Mhm.
because you kind of look up and down those rosters. It's a lot of people coming back from European play or maybe continental play from North America that are kind of finishing up their careers. It's a lot of academy and then a huge gap in age. But for them to be, 20 somethings out there dominating the Jamaican Premier League table right now, I think they're still a point ahead. I
Yep.
didn't see the final for the I think it was Monte Bay that was right below them. But Cavaliers' back line is where you have to focus your attention. They have two center backs that are extremely strong with Kyle Ming and King, but Richard King. And both those guys are just rock steady. Like they don't get flustered in any situation. They've had a lot of terrible decisions be made in their rotated lineups in the midfield. So watching them, it's like it's pretty hilarious to watch them just completely diffuse the situation. Now their captain is also over there on the left back. He's uh, pretty solid. He just makes some ill-advised decisions on some of the back play ball. That's Irving, but it's really the story for Cavalier when we're watching it. This is a team, at least in the Jamaican League, that is allowing only 9 goals in 18 matches. They are at a ridiculous clip right now, and they're scoring, I think, third highest on goals, which is, I think they're at 31 goals scored so far in the season. It's a 19th game of the season in the Jamaican League, so we know Cavalier is going to come into this pretty well in form. They're getting one of their better striker forwards back. I don't even. This league is impossible to keep up with for anybody that's been trying. I think there's only like a Facebook page post or Twitter post that's like the table standings, and that's about all you're gonna get from social media.
Yeah.
But Chanel Thomas, he was the Golden Boot winner in the Caribbean Cup. He's one of those guys that plays like Brandon when he was a bit younger, right? Where he was a long, rangy guy that likes the ball at his feet. Not so much of a physical presence in the box, but he is definitely a solid goal scorer.
No. This match, of course, Thursday, 9 p.m. on FS2. And that's just around the corner 2 days from now if you're watching live. It is the first international competition MLS FC Cincinnati will have ever participated in. Is that correct, Bryan?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, not counting Leagues Cup, but yeah, I'm excited to see how we travel down there, and I'm really excited to see who we play. I think you think Matt Miazga is going to start because he's not going to play on Sunday unless things miraculously change. Is Luca Oriano going to be signed, sealed, delivered, and ready for the was it roster deadline on Wednesday morning?
Yes, Wednesday at 1 a.m. according to Concacaf's rules.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Unless
so
Miami's not done ditching players, then they'll extend it a day.
there you go. So we'll see Yakuba in the midfield. We'll see him at right back. Where, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think you got to see Alice Powell. I mean, come on, guys, coming home, give him a nod. So, but
and we likely will see Halsey as well because Bariel's probably not going to be match fit. He only returned to the club a week and a half ago, so he's still trying to get up to match fitness. I'm sure he did some individual work.
Hey, that's not too bad. There's a lot of Halsey fans out there that want to see more. So this is a big opportunity. All right, so you've watched a little bit of it. You talked a little bit about Cavalier FC. Who's the favorite going into this?
Oh, between FC Cincinnati and Cavalier? Oh, definitely FC Cincinnati. I think in the FIFA or the CONCACAF rankings, FC Cincinnati is 14th in CONCACAF, and Cavalier FC are 101st.
they're the lowest ranked team in the competition.
They're not, though.
Oh, they're not anymore? They were.
Somebody threw that out there, and it is not true. Mocha
during the CONCACAF draw, they did.
Yes, Mocha FC is actually lower than them considerably. Like I think it's 20 positions below them. They're playing Nashville in their first round match.
And of course they are. Nashville gets life so easy.
But it's the Caribbean, right? They're not. I mean, they're not typically playing in tournaments where we get to see them compete. We know that Jamaica has been able to field very good international teams and also develop players and send them overseas, like Leon Bailey with Austin Villa. I mean, we know that Jamaica is capable of producing talent, and this Cavalier team is nothing but young, talented players.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. And honestly, I think we need to set ourselves with a realistic expectation going into this game that a draw is fine, but we need to get one goal. We need to get a road goal. That is very important. As road goals do matter significantly in this competition. So any goal we have on the road, it's like honestly worth 2. So if we can put a couple in there, get Bupenza going early. I mean, they're not going to see any guys like Lucho, like Bupenza, but it's really up to our guys to, cause some trouble and to finish when they can. I mean, we're not going to be playing in the goat pasture that they're normally used to. We're going to be playing in their national stadium, I think, right? National or whatever.
Yep, the Olympic Stadium.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be at an acceptable level for a continental competition, and we have to go early. So I really do hope, and I don't know if we want to transfer to Sunday. I mean, I really want to put our eggs in this basket. So we play Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday back at home. So I mean, it's a tight turnaround with a lot of travel. That's not a necessarily fun flight from Jamaica. So hopefully Allegiant can go direct for our guys. I know I got stuck in Jamaica for an extra day because of those jerk holes down at Allegiant, but. Long story. But yeah.
But as far as what fans might expect for this matchup, I think Cavalier is unquestionably going to sit in a very low block. I think that the talent gap is going to demand that, and they're going to hope that FC Cincinnati makes mistakes in the midfield and they can capitalize, get kind of caught out of position, because they do have rangy runners. They're not incredible speedy runners, but they are like Brenner wasn't outrunning every player in MLS, right? But they have players that can pace out a little bit. So I think FC Cincinnati, it's just important to try to solve the problem that Nashville SC and Orlando City presented them last year. And how do you defeat a team that's just completely content with sitting, 7, 8 guys in the box all night?
If you think they're sitting back on Thursday, wait till next Wednesday. So,
it may be decided at that point. They may just let the.
It could be. No, I'm interested to see who we play. If we do go out there with Pavel Buka, with Obina Wobodo, or do we, put a Pinto in there and leave one of those guys for later on? I mean, kind of what Justin is saying though. We're kind of shorthanded on those wingback roles. So we could be really short when it comes to Sunday when we're throwing out Ian Murphy, Miles Robinson, and Kit Keller at center back roles, unless MLS wants to give our guy Matt Miazga a little reprieve.
I mean, they got rid of a suspension for someone else who did a lot worse thing. So
does the referee lockout, we talked about it earlier, affect a player who got in trouble with the refs? Like someone said this today, and I have no idea if it's true, that Miazga's suspension can't get reduced because the MLS are locked out. The refs are locked out, and they don't want to offend them or something.
I don't believe that. I think that's just a totally different thing. And it seems that Laurel, I mean, it's like our visa problems, right? We seem to be last in the league to get cleared on anything.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not touching that, but I think there's I like the theory of it with the, is what it is.
Well, as Bryan said, we also play on Sunday versus Toronto FC at 2:30 p.m. This one's interesting to me. Toronto, a team that's really struggled the last couple of years. They're trying to claw their way back. A team that has a lot of money, a front office that's not afraid to spend, and yet one that has been proven themselves incapable, and a fan base that just demands better. So Toronto FC, you think they're going to have it all put together by Sunday? Jason, you haven't pitched in here.
Oh, because I know next to nothing about Cavalier, so I was more than content just to sit there and listen. I wouldn't be surprised if on Sunday we come out kind of flat, or both teams come out flat. But I think Toronto, if they can get their designated players to actually give a crap, they would be a
The
more
Italians.
yeah, they would be a more dangerous team. I think that's been their problem, is they have guys that just don't want to be there, and then they play like it, which I will never understand. Um, but with us missing Miazga, that they're still a dangerous team to be up against to start the season. That's a lot of talent that they have that just hasn't been able to put it together. And early season games are always kind of a crapshoot in MLS.
Yeah, I'm interested, kind of, just because I think whatever pace that sets there will probably either set Toronto fans off on another "oh no, not this again," or FC Cincinnati fans thinking we're great way too early. But it's just match one, and I am glad we have a warm up before it, so I think it'll be cool to watch what FCC can do before we go into a Miazga-less defensive match. Let's give a shout out to all of those that have been supporting Cincinnati Soccer Talk over the offseason. Real quick, we're going to jump into this whole U.S. Open Cup disaster. But first, shout out to Red Lee, John Davidson, a dinosaur in dental school, which I believe is our good friend Mike Hudson, Robert Stevens, Laurel Failer, Matthew Adamczyk, Riley Stephen Burke, James Denbrough, Tom Newhouse, Brian Weigel, Brian Gills, Dan Alberts, Will Kajcek. Turning the page. Ian Rexroad, Carl Fight, Christina Sharma, Kyle Pohl, Rupesh, Tom Beaverdorf, Jason, who is super average, Ryan Ernst, Wes Anastasi, Rob Pierce, Clifford Adams, Thomas Stepps, Pierce Johnson, Mike Parentis, David Wiederhold, Rob Gassell, Bradley Weigel, Alex Carnegus, Dave Tingler, Patrick Lahani, Mike Bowman, Brett Sova, Kevin Cooney, Joe Max, Jack Emery, David Moore, Bob Ryan, Ryan Durkin, Bark Labita, Rob Trappell, Joe Lohr, Bill Leopold, Marine De Moray, Jose, saw you on YouTube. Shout out to Live Jose, John Caffardi, Justin Blair, Kyle Phillips, Ashley Newhouse, Dan Burns, Mark Klippinger, Justin Gregory, Scott Dalton, Jeffrey Tebbets, The Troll, Jackson Fight, Matt Bauer, Pete Koch, Mark Godsey, Todd Schoenbeck, and Eric Johnson. Thanks, everybody, for supporting Cincinnati Soccer Talk over on Patreon. You can, of course, support our efforts there. It mostly goes towards writing, photography, etc. Paying a little bit of these fancy tools we have here for these live shows. But outside of that, appreciate it. U.S. Open Cup no longer quite in doubt. Right before the show, it broke that Major League Soccer on ESPN would be playing in U.S. Open Cup with a partial league, probably missing the top 8, 9 or so teams. And I think the story that broke earlier this week with a little over half MLS coming in the third or fourth round is what's going to happen. But it's been a big back and forth all day today with big fans of the U.S. Open Cup and especially lower league fans feeling gypped, feeling screwed over by U.S. soccer. And then there's MLS fans that think, this is a big waste of our time. We need to turn the page. We need to focus on things like Leagues Cup that make more money, that matter. I think every single one of us have a different opinion on this. Even if we are aligned, it's different. So let's just dive into this real quick, if that's a thing. Justin, we'll start with you, sir. Should the U.S. Open Cup exist? Should MLS participate in it? What's like your thoughts on this whole thing?
Okay, so I'm not getting in the weeds in all the details here, but yes, the U.S. Open Cup should exist. Yes, the MLS should compete in it. Yes, they should be able to field whatever roster they see fit to come out and compete in this. And the onus is up to the rest of the competition to just beat them. If you're going to complain about, okay, well, we can't sell tickets on your reserve team, then just beat them. Put it in, like, the U.S. should have it in the record books, whatever that means, right? For whatever club, but just have it, hey, Louisville City beat Columbus. You know what I mean? Like it should be that team. It shouldn't be the 2 team, right? I disagree with having the 2-team tag being on it because it's not representative of like that club. But they should be able to field academy players, 2-team roster. It should expand the roster allowance. But I don't think that the MLS should withdraw from it completely. I kind of don't like that we're limiting what teams are participating in the field, but ultimately that's up to the MLS.
I actually didn't think you were going to say some of that, so that's surprising. Bryan Weigel is a big fan of Leagues Cup. He came out last year believing it was going to be great for the league to get Liga MX involved with MLS and just to have MLS own something better. So, Bryan, U.S. Open Cup or nah?
So Justin said the MLS, so everything he said prior to that's null and void. God, I don't give you any slack, do I?
Not at all.
I love you, buddy. So I think that, well, prior to this past year, Liga MX was the most watched league in the United States, and finally, they had a downtick this past year. Premier League beaten by I think like 100,000 per broadcast. So I still think we partner with the biggest league in the States as much as we possibly can, and I still think the Leagues Cup's a good competition that'll breed more success, more money, more eyeballs, and more growth than the U.S. Open Cup. That's my opinion. I understand the history. I don't necessarily love the playbook that MLS ran to do this, but I think at the end of the day, everybody wins. MLS gets less teams in the competition that they don't value, that nobody gives a crap about or watches. When I say nobody, I mean like the general population, not the people at Lexington SC. USL has an easier pathway to a Concacaf Champions Cup spot. Less MLS teams, less quality, more chance to, get their bid to a greener pasture or whatever. I'd love to see Louisville City and FC Cincinnati play in the Concacaf Champions Cup. I think it'd be kind of interesting. That would be a packed house with real stakes. And then third, amateur and low professional teams get additional funding so they don't have to mortgage their future to still have one little chance of glory to play professional teams. I think they were talking about 32 amateur teams will get to play professional teams this upcoming year. If that stays the case, great for them. Everybody wins. This competition is antiquated and it needs to be redone. There needs to be a targeted focus, a mission statement. I got dragged online this week. What's the mission? National champion? Nobody in their right damn mind looks at the U.S. Open Cup champion as the national champion of the United States soccer. It's stupid. Nobody gives a crap. Everybody forgets that Houston actually won, not Miami this past year. Yeah. So, I don't know, man. I see the beauty of the cup, but I do think it's kind of what I said a month and a half ago. There needs to be targeted growth plans for this competition if it wants to stay relevant.
Jason, a lot of people think FC Cincinnati is a Major League Soccer team today because of the magic of the cup, because we participated in it. We had New York Red Bulls coach come here and say nice things. Don Garber sat in our press box or sat in the owner's box first during the U.S. Open Cup. Are we a MLS club, and do we owe it all to the Open Cup?
It certainly helped get eyeballs on Cincinnati. You kind of distracted me from my rant I was going to go on, Boston. Good job. It certainly helped. I think a lot of people, that was their kind of first introduction to FC Cincinnati. The things that got FC Cincinnati an MLS bid, that helped, but it was mostly you had an ownership group that is super wealthy. They had a stadium plan that they knew they could get done. And at that time, when FC Cincinnati was trying to get an MLS team, the Modell law had not yet saved the crew, and the crew were looking to leave Ohio. So that also was in Cincinnati's favor. So all those factors kind of tied in together. But, one of the things that people talk about is the magic of the Cup. And really, after FC Cincinnati made their big run back, what was that, 2017, 2018, that they made the big run, really, there wasn't much push to elevate the Cup after that. And yeah, you had Sacramento Republic make it all the way to the final a couple of years ago, but there was nowhere near.
Nobody cared.
Nobody cared. Where was ESPN doing a big special broadcast from Sacramento, right? Because the Chicago Fire were a bad team when they came to Cincinnati, but ESPN wanted to put the game on the air. There was a big push to market this thing. That did not happen. U.S. Soccer did not take advantage of that. MLS didn't really take advantage of it either because they had the broadcast rights at the time, or the marketing rights. So I'm kind of with Bryan. I also think, there is a simple solution that MLS could implement. It should implement. They can call up guys from the 2 team to play on the senior roster, and there's really no limit to how many times they can do it. It's like a 4-day window that they can stay with the roster, but there's no limit on non-league games. So they can come up for as long as they need to for Leagues Cup, US Open Cup, Champions Cup, that sort of thing. That's the solution. Is just call up your guys on a temporary loan, put them in first team uniforms, not that there's any difference, and play. The reason why MLS wants out is because MLS does not own the marketing and broadcast rights to this anymore. We heard for years and years and years that U.S. Soccer Federation needs to divorce itself from Soccer United marketing. All the blue check marks and pro rel and on, well, you got to get out from Soccer United marketing. Well, you did, and look what happened. And so now Apple TV wants more games, and MLS is like, bet, yeah, we'll just partner with Liga MX and make our own tournament. This is what happened because of the divorce between Soccer United Marketing and United States Soccer Federation. And we're going to find ourselves in a similar situation next year because MLS does not want to do the easiest thing, which is just call up reserves.
And CONCACAF doesn't want anything really to do with the US Open Cup either, because they want the best product out there, and that's why they have 3 teams from Leagues Cup that get automatic bids now.
Yeah, and CONCACAF, Mexico doesn't have a domestic cup like this, and CONCACAF
they did. They just
did.
stopped. Yeah, last year they paused it.
And let's be real, like all the Jason said the pro rel and on folks, USL is the biggest bunch, even their fan base is the biggest bunch of hypocrites out there. This whole damn thing. Guess what? There was supposed to be a USL Cup this year. And there's going to be a USL League One Cup this year because guess what? All the USL championship teams didn't want to tie themselves to a cup that involved, guess what? Lower division teams, because nobody wants to be a part of that because you don't take it seriously. You don't put your full flight out there. And then you get a scenario where at the end of the season, when Columbus Crew wins the MLS Cup, you got Pittsburgh with the tweet says, "We beat these guys," with 2 starters on the damn field from Columbus. So come on, let's be real. And you have the owner of New Mexico coming out and being championed as this hero to be worshipped about, oh, he's got the sanctity of everything. Well, guess what? That guy came in 8th place in the West, and they play in a freaking baseball field. Let's not act like these guys, these USL, all these high and mighty people are doing the world a damn favor with lower tier soccer. Know who we need to be celebrating? Louisville City. Hate saying that, but people who are doing things the right way. And MLS are doing mostly the right way.
New Mexico at least has a stadium plan. I'll give them that. They're actually
failed like 3 times.
They're going to get it built.
It just failed. It just failed.
It just failed.
It did.
Yeah.
They broke the law.
Yeah, it turns out
the law.
it turns out they didn't actually have like a comment period or properly done or something.
It is interesting though that, and Justin, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm like walking all over you here.
No,
It is interesting though that NASL, which is basically it only exists on who is it, Rocco Camiso's on a piece of paper in his office. They are suing U.S. Soccer Federation because of what they perceive as arbitrary sanctioning. NASL did not meet their sanction, and they lost. They lost their division rights or whatever.
Yeah, they felt like
Rightfully went out of
U.S. Soccer raised the PSL standards on them.
Yeah, so which everybody voted on them. The thing is, had U.S. Soccer played hardball and taken away MLS's Division I sanction, they would have immediately jumped on that lawsuit. And that's kind of the funny part of this whole thing, is that we could have seen MLS and NASL joining forces on a frivolous lawsuit.
Yeah, I don't think that was ever in doubt. Anyone saying MLS is going to lose their sanctioning or not be Division One, you guys were just shooting for the dang moon. You're just upset and saying things that were not going to happen. None of that is going to happen. It's not even a realistic conversation, honestly. Not even worth having on the show. But I think you're all wrong. I think the U.S. Open Cup is the greatest competition in American soccer, and we need to keep it. We need to keep it alive. And I don't give a crap what MLS thinks. The United States Soccer Federation needs to force this down our dang throats. And
greatest competition is the Supporter Shield. Get it right.
And make us have it. I mean, it would be kind of cool. Like, I'm just going to play devil's advocate here, having a soccer body that wasn't beholden to any league, not USL, not MLS, and just said, you know what, this thing's 100 years old. You will play in it. You will like it. And unfortunately, I don't think that's reality, because a good chunk of the United States Soccer Federation is actually MLS people. There's a lot of people on the board. There's a lot of votes MLS has, and it's going to go to the wayside. I think in the next couple years, I think MLS will get their way, and this competition will fade from first division. And it's kind of a bummer to me, because I do think it had a part of our growth. I'm with you, Jason, in that I don't think I think FC Cincinnati would be in MLS today, even if we didn't win those Open Cup games. We if you go back and you look at the teams that were bidding on MLS, there's really only two that had real bids. If you think about it,
I mean, Nashville got in, so I think we would have been fine.
they're one of that's the other one.
If there's any way that we can actually grow the sport through the U.S. Open Cup, I'm all for it. But also make sure we don't have to play like Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, because that is not good for anybody.
What about the MLS schedule? Just the regular season schedule. That's what we do. Scheduling congestion, but then we load it up with, twice a week matches all the time just to fit in Leagues Cup. So,
we don't do that every single or back to back.
But that's part of being in Champions Cup. That's part of being.
Yeah, but MLS and Liga MX own Leagues Cup. They can change that
right
any way they want. They can format it a little bit differently. So, in my opinion, I think there's a place they both can exist. You probably have to shrink down MLS's place maybe a little bit in Open Cup to try to make this work. You got to figure out a different way to play Leagues Cup, and I think you can cram all this crap in, but it's going to be smaller, less games for everybody. The one thing I think that really dooms the Open Cup is it's one of those rare moments where MLS and the MLS Players Association are like in sync, locked in sync, and that's going to be a hard thing to break. Yeah. When the players are like, these guys we always fight with, we're on the same page as them this time.
I don't have much sympathy for the argument that it causes too much congestion. I mean, you look at the Premier League, you're playing Premier League, if you're in European competition, you got that. You got the FA Cup. You got the Carabao Cup. You got the Capital One Credit Card Cup, or whatever they're calling it now. They've got like 8 different competitions that they're doing, and yeah, there's a lot of more TV money involved with it. I think the real solution here is MLS somehow needs to get this on Apple TV and get back the broadcast rights. That's the only thing that's going to keep them all in on the Open Cup. Until that happens, you're not going to have MLS have any interest in continuing the way it was.
I agree with that, but like I said, if you just allow the other rosters to participate in it, then I mean, we don't have the scheduling congestion problem, right?
Well, like Scott mentioned in the chat here, it's only 5 games if you win.
Exactly.
So that's not that bad. And you're right, Justin. Like I mentioned, you're right. We should be able to do these roster mechanisms to fix it. But like, it's not in MLS's interest to go out and put games on ESPN, right? There's a reason Messi didn't play in the final, because it wasn't on Apple TV.
We played 11 games in 5.5 weeks during like late April, the first weekend in May.
That was a blast.
Or late June. Dude, that's stupid.
We won like every one of them. What are you talking about?
It's not the fact that it's 5 games. It's they're back to back.
If you're a MLS US Open Cup fan, Jason's right about that. It's all about the money. Honestly, I don't even think the TV will help. Jason's right about that. But if you even want to get the players union to betray Major League Soccer, just crank the prize pool of the U.S. Open Cup. Make that thing $5 million. I don't know where you're going to get it. You're going to have to go beg some sponsor. You're going to have to, like, U.S. Soccer is going to have to go find money underneath the mattress. But you make that thing more valuable than Leagues Cup, because that's what MLS did to make all the players want to play in Leagues Cup. Is they said, hey, we'll give you $100,000 for every game you win. We'll give you $2 million if you win this tournament. And the players are like, that's a better deal than going all the way through U.S. Open Cup and only getting $200,000 for us all to split. Who cares? We got to play 5 games for 200 G's when I can get 100 G's for every win in Leagues Cup. And that's what it is. It's all about money. Yeah. If you want to turn this thing on its head, make this thing big.
Hey, before we move on that, what are like operating costs? How do those come in to play? It's like when you're playing in TQL Stadium, that's not cheap.
No.
Operating costs are kind of like split. Away teams are kind of covered by U.S. Open Cup a little bit. I think the last report I saw was by American Soccer. Jason might know a little bit more than I do, but back in 2020, they put out a paper and they actually listed the 15 years of the U.S. Open Cup and the revenue and the operations. And somewhere about 2015, U.S. Soccer started investing okay money in it, not like real money in it, but like okay money in it. And the costs went way up, but so did the revenue. And they demanded more revenue from all the teams. In 2019, 2020, it broke even right about 15 million revenue and 15 million cost. I haven't seen a single number since. It obviously got canceled in COVID. And then when it's come back, I don't know where it's at. But U.S. Soccer isn't doing too good. Between lawsuits and all the equal pay and all that stuff, they're bleeding money right now. So I wouldn't be shocked.
Dude, they made 15 million in revenue for all of our tickets for the damn Miami game.
And there's a World Cup on the horizon.
Yeah, I think you'll see a cash infusion.
But Copa America and
Club World Cup.
What is interesting is that back in 2019, everybody was yelling about all the extra money U.S. Soccer had on their balance sheet, and a lot of that's disappeared in the last 3 or 4 years. So they need a World Cup. Trust me, they need a World Cup back to get to financially help them out. I think this show's gone fairly long enough. I would love to sit here and banter with you guys the rest of the night about how you're wrong, but we want to give a shout out to a couple people. Ray Gaddis, the Tuck Master himself, officially departing FC Cincinnati. Would love to see this guy back in the saddle. If anybody has any thoughts on that, share them in your finals. Victor Ulloa retires. Mentioned FC Cincinnati. I know he probably didn't have the world's greatest time here because he was in a period of instability and went to Miami and finished out his career there. But shout out to Victor for the few years he was helping us out here. I think we had guys at the food event, photographers at the food event today. I hope that your bellies are full and their cameras are full of nice pictures. We'll put those somewhere. Let's get into the final thoughts of this team here. Bry, you're up first. What you got for us?
Oh, I think I shot my shot tonight. So, no, just excited to get back. Going to take my boy down to the stadium Sunday, and it looks like 58, 60-degree weather. So pumped,
Nice.
pumped that we
In
don't have to do
February?
all. Yeah, just amazing. We don't have to do Saturday night 7:30 games every freaking week. So no, excited to be down there, and if you see us, say hi.
Is this for the painting?
What?
No, it's for the game.
Boston.
Christ.
Preseason's over, Boston. Step in it.
It's 2:30 on Sunday, Boston,
See you there, buddy.
against Toronto FC at TQL Stadium.
Thank God you can edit that out on the podcast.
I'm not going
Live
to.
show,
I'm
Jeff.
leaving it. I'm leaving it. I'm not ashamed.
Is that for the painting?
I knew we had a TIFO at least. Okay. So I just mixed up my days, apparently. All right.
God love you.
Jason, save me, please.
Bob Bryan mentioned it in the chat, but I kind of was thinking about this too. The Nonstop Flight documentary about FC Cincinnati comes on tomorrow on Apple on MLS Season Pass. So if you have that, watch it. Tommy G and his crew, I think, were the ones who put that together, and so I'm really excited to watch that tomorrow night and get hyped up for the season. And I know there's a certain group of people who don't think there's not enough stories about MLS. And well, here you go. Here's a story of a club that came out of nowhere and clawed its way into MLS. So watch that and report on it about, the world of soccer. So yeah.
Yeah, and they're new stuff, right? New stuff. Tommy G's hinting that this isn't your old documentary we watched back in the day. It's going to be split up in episodes, and I'm interested in seeing Dan McNally talk about being the first employee again. All right, Justin.
Yeah, I just want to give a special shout out to Cheryl Walls Ayers, posting out that she is down in Kingston, Jamaica right now, getting ready to take on Cavalier FC.
Oh, no.
I love seeing support going down, traveling for these, especially these continental matches. That gets me so excited to have orange and blue represented down in Kingston, Jamaica is kind of a dream for all FCC fans from day one, right? To be able to compete in big major tournaments like this, no matter who the competition is, travel down there, support your team. Pretty awesome stuff. Shout out to you, Cheryl.
Yeah, shout out, Cheryl. Shout out to all FC Cincinnati fans that are ready to get back at it. If you support our show, we want to give you an extra special shout out. We're bringing the Growler Cup back. You'll see those go out on Patreon, and essentially that is our game in which you pick whether FC Cincinnati will win, lose, or draw. That gives you 3 points. Then you will choose by what goal metric that happens. If FCC wins 2-1 versus New York City, these are league games only, by the way, then you would get 2 more points, 1 each for guessing the exact score, or 1 each if you guess only one side of the score. But the Growler Cup's a fun competition we play with our supporters, and all of the the Cincinnati Soccer Talk staff kind of pitch in and play when we remember. But we love this game. I played every week last year, and I finished second or third, which made me feel like I knew something. And then the next round I fell apart, so I fell back to earth. But we always have, I tell you what, we have fans that listen to this show that get like, someone last year got 6 to 7 games in a row, score included. And I was like, how are you not a professional sports bettor? Like, that's amazing. If you parlayed 6 games in a row, that's thousands of dollars, right? It's got to be.
Yeah.
So, shout out to those that know the team very well. The competition's coming back this year. We are calling it quits for this episode, but we look forward to seeing you again next week. We have a lot to talk about because, of course, by that point, FC Cincinnati will be 2 matches in, and we will either be on the moon or talking about everything that went wrong. And you can join us then. See you next week.